Good day and welcome back to Elementary 72 Gaming. Now, coming up in the next few weeks is going to be the big hype which is going to start building on Tower of God, because we know there's a release set for Tower of God Season 2 for Crunchyroll. And with that, there's going to come a lot of hype on it and a lot of people asking the big important questions. Who are the bad guys? Who are Fug? What is really going on? So obviously I'm going to have 2 or 3 series that are going to be running concurrently. The first one is going to be a review of all the chapters. Now obviously just saying it's kind of insane to go through, but what I intend to do is actually review every single chapter of the comic. So I'm going to do 10 chapters at a time for the review, which will make it 65 days so that it's not crazy. But beyond all of that, there are other things that need to be spoken about from the story, and there's going to be a ton of plot lines that I'm going to outline on a grander picture without any restrictions on myself. So if I reach a spot in the start and I'm like, here they're entering the tower, I'm actually going to bring in the later parts of the book so that everything is actually being given a retrospective. Everything is taken into advantage of this. Because we know what's going to happen in the future, we can explain what's happening in the past a lot better. Like Dr. Bonehead showed the murals on the wall. And from the start, I thought that they had some significance to the story, because I know that designers and storytellers love to give us little hints of where the story is meant to go. What's the craziness that is going on in it? And the other thing was that I think I figured out something really tragic and really crazy in the story. And well, here goes a little something. So we know that originally 13 warriors entered the tower. The first 13 were Jahad and his 12 companions. However, we know that something is off with that story, because when we spoke to a certain data person, or when the story went to a certain data person, he stated that the most king-like of the group was V. We know that V was seriously powerful, however we don't know what his level of power was. We don't know whether he was an actual match for Jahad, or if V plus Alan were a match for Jahad, or if either one of them was stronger than Jahad on their own. We just know that from the 10 great warriors, the strongest is Arya Khan, right? We don't know whether Jahad and V fought a lot, and we don't know whether V was a very soft person, a very violent person. We don't know much about it. And all of a sudden, this thought hit me. They erased from the story. There's a lot that we don't know about them. And if they were the strongest, they weren't going to be mentioned as the strongest. If they were the wisest, they weren't going to be mentioned as the wisest. And it was for that reason that I came up with a crazy idea. We heard that the greatest tension from the 10 warriors during the train arc belonged to to V, right? We don't know his real name, we just know that his title is V. And one of the things that really hit me when it came to the story was the fact that there's a lot unknown about V. It reminds me of a certain character in the story right now. V lines up with Bam, and one of those who keeps going on, he wants to be the king, he's going to become the king of the tower, he has the destiny to be the king of the tower, is Wagner. And the person who is most jealous and trying to take everything from him is Rachel. The one most in love with him is Yuan, most probably, followed by that's Iwa Yuan, followed by the next person on the list who's really in love with Bam being Ender Rossi. And Bam so far hasn't shown any type of attachment to anybody else. So we have just that basic. And beyond all of this, when they climbed the tower, there were no crazy powerful individuals who could wipe them out anytime they wanted to. As they climbed, they met powerful individuals, and they helped them rise to even greater heights. working together with them. So we had the introduction of V, we had the introduction of all of these people slowly one by one building up on a story. And right now, where we're sitting in the nest all of a sudden, I actually had this epiphany. What if the story that happened in the original start is much similar to what we have right now? And by that I mean, what if the 13 warriors all entered on a single warrior's allowance into the tower? What if from the 13 only one could ascend to the top floor? Only one of them had that power. It wasn't Arlen Grace, and we know that Jahad definitely doesn't have the capability to keep climbing and open the next level. He's blocked it off for a reason. And if you think about that, that means that the 10 warriors who are weaker than Jahad definitely aren't it. We know that Arlen wasn't the one who could go further, or if it was possible that she could go further, then she was the one who let them in. But the big hit and the big hint to who our all-powerful secret member would be the most aloof of the lot, V. V didn't go for immortality. He sought to connect himself with others around him. He was a kind and gentle soul. Reminds you of anybody? And it's for that reason that I believe that V and Bam have a very similar storyline. They went up with that same idea, and it's just the nest that actually gave me this idea of why somebody like Gustang would hate someone like Bam. He gave up on himself and he went full out beast and murdered everybody. Whether you see it as he didn't murder everybody or whether you see it as he murdered everybody, Bam literally wiped out an entire floor worth of people because he got a little bit ticked off. And that is the current battle in the nest. So yeah, Bam really took a massive page out of the book of changing yourself rapidly. And it's for this reason that we can see a lot of secrets coming out about Bam in the long run. And it was something that we don't really need to stress about too heavily. So here's the reality behind all the insanity of the tower. When the 13 warriors entered, one of them opened the door, not all of them. The others all entered the same way that Rachel entered the tower. The reason why Hedon tests the irregulars so harshly now is not because an irregular killed an administrator. He tests them so harshly because the chosen one was killed by one of those who entered with him. And the reason why he gave Rachel the same task was he wanted to see if this chosen one could overcome the same task that his forebearer fell. So either way, it's either B was the original chosen one to supersede the levels of the tower, or it was Arlen as the chosen one who was supposed to supersede the levels of the tower. However, I'm suspecting it's more V than Arlen because V has this anonymous thing about him that says that he had the power of an emperor. Right? I'm suspecting he had the power of an emperor. He could crush everything if he truly wanted to, if he embraced his power. And yeah, that's how it goes. And yes, we do know that Jahad killed V in the end. The reason for it was because of the contracts they made. And something tells me that V didn't die from a traditional fight. Something tells me Jahad did something really sneaky, like stab him in the back or murder him while he wasn't watching. So yeah, I'm suspecting that Jahad is another Rachel. Throw him off the ledge because of close friendship or something which bonded the two together. So V had a very intimate relationship with Jahad, and he believed that Jahad was there to make peace. And in that moment, he gets tossed off the top of the tower, basically, and that's how he ended up dead. Right? So that's kind of the crazy thing that I believe happened to V originally in the story, but that is just a side conjecture on what I'm thinking is going on in the tower right now. If that holds true, then we know that somebody who steals power from a chosen one, someone who tries to match a chosen one's power like Jahad, can become very very powerful, right? They can become king-like, and we know that Rachel is chasing that same path. If Rachel chases the power that Bam has, tries to take his destiny, forcefully accumulates power, she might become the next Jahad-like figure. But she isn't going to be the next Jahad-like figure. I believe that we've already been given our hint. I think that Rachel is going to fall in love with Bam in the end. It sounds crazy. She's going to be part of the big bads, and it's going to be Wagner, Rachel, and Bam in the final fight. And Rachel is going to decide that she wants to love Bam, but she's going to try and stab him in the back, and Bam is going to learn from his past to drop off the tower situations and kill her instead of allow it to happen. Although the feeling will be real, so it's going to be this heavy, conclusion at the end. I'm hoping that it leads to that point. But nonetheless, that's just my conjecture on that whole part of the story. If you wanted to know what I think of what's going on in the nest, well, the nest is crazy. We've got Tromarai Lopobia showing up, right? That says that there's one of the 10 great warriors in that fight. That means things are going to be insane. We're going to need some type of super intervention. Bam is already reaching massive levels of power with his defeat of White. He is now a top 50 ranker level individual, and we know that White is way more powerful than he should be. He absorbed a lot of power during the fight outside when he took on Calaban, and we know that he could have killed Calaban but favored leaving Calaban to suffer before he eats him. And we know that Bam basically kicked his butt, and because of that Vincent came out, and Vincent is looking at Bam really suspiciously. He's looking at him like there's something special about him, and we know that Joaquin, or White's core personality, is hidden away because of the humiliation of being beaten by a child. He no longer has the control. If we look at all of this and we think about what's going to happen next, Bam is a monster, right? Considering his power, top 50 levels, is about 10% of the power of Yurick Mazino. And I suspect that Jahad is at the same level, or around about the same level of Yurick Mazino. The 10 great warriors, considering how afraid they are of Yurick, the strongest of them being Arye Han, is about 60% of Yurick's power, with the lowest of them being about 20%. And as I just said, Bam was probably just hit up that 10% power. He could really fight at that level. Remember, Yurick went and he did that thing against I'm forgetting the name of the guy, Armorhead, the tin head who keeps showing up to interfere with Bam Karaka. Considering that he said, if you can survive this year, I'll give you a wing for the Wing Tree badge. Considering that whole statement, I suspect that the level of power of Karaka is about 1% of the power. As he said, I don't even need to worry about using my full power. I can use 1% and kick these guys' butts, and that was just with one assault, not going all out at 1% even, baby playing them. And that's how powerful he was. Once White took in all the souls, he was crazy powerful, but he still was no match for a family head. And the family head even proved that Yurick is way beyond him. He couldn't even stand up to him. And that administrators were crazy powerful, and that's the power that Bam is sitting with in the Thorns. All 4 Thorns together most probably have the same power as wiping out an administrator. They're that crazy powerful. Can wipe out the contract an administrator makes as well. So yeah, that's another whole side topic to go on. And Bam is 2 out of 4 on the Thorn pieces, so he's 50% to the level of wiping out a contract. So Bam most probably could take on Tromarai for the fight. Would he defeat him? Absolutely not. Although Bam is holding back severely, he still has Black March to deploy if he wants to fight, and he can burn souls into Black March, plus his power, plus Shinsu Black Hole Sphere, plus his other crazy powers, and mixing it all together, Bam can be this monster like no other monster we have seen. and that's the reality. Plus, he stole White's power on top of all of that, which makes it. I don't even know how to say this here, but the fact that he sucked out White's power and he has White's power means that he took a level 50 ranker in the high rankers and he made that power his own. So he has level 50 plus he was at level 50. He has doubled his power. And the moment he's at full force, provided he doesn't take any other crazy power ups in this year, it's not like he's gonna fight some other irregular or monster before he reaches Samurai and manage to pick up some crazy power, unless Marshni tries to kill him with some type of spear and he takes the hit and he grabs it and he just like whoops Marshni around and takes her yellow May from her, which would be an absolute shocker, because then he has two pieces of the 13-month series, and if the 13 months doesn't drive him nuts, then he is the true master who the 13 months are meant for. And this year would make things even more crazy, because then we know he's part of another prophecy altogether, and that he is super powerful. Once he gets 2 of the 13 months, he'll get 3. Once he gets 3, he's just going to keep collecting them. And obviously, if Marshni has to try and fight Balm, I don't think that she can beat him. Marshni is powerful, I will not deny it. But in terms of power, I'd say she's Calavan's inferior. And Balm, most likely, if he bursts his control, and if Calavan is stupid enough to try and hit a Kun or a Rak near Balm, Calavan will be on the back ropes with his full power with both arms, with an excess of not having to have had fought anybody, plus going all out. Calavan would be on the back foot. He'd have his body torn to pieces. He'd be on the floor bleeding. That's how bad the level of power that Balm has right now is. He is that crazy insane. So yeah, Calavan is no match for him. If Boric tries to fight Balm, he's going to have the worst time of his life. He's going to be toyed around with like he was a joke. Remember, he's doubled his power. He's double Calavan right now. If Balm fights right now, it will be like, hey kid, you want to fight me? Yeah, you may be old, but here you go, you're dead. Hit me with your spear because you're a Kun, right? I took your spear power. Hit me with your Po Badao power, right? I got Po Badao power. That's what I think will happen if anybody fights with Balm right now. So yeah, Balm is really crazy, and provided Balm doesn't pick up any more insane abilities before he fights Samurai, that fight will be incredible. He may not be at the level of a 10 grade warrior as yet, but that fight will definitely have quite a big intermission to it. So catch you all in the next one and have a good day.